I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business will be the minutes from last week's meeting. Are there any corrections? Don has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Tom is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Don moved. Tom second. Motion carries 5-0. Nothing in the consent agenda and miscellaneous motions. Motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the letters to the cities regarding the second half distribution of the 2020 Parks and Recreation and Infrastructure Grant Funds.
So moved.
Tom has moved.
Second.
Bob is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 5-0. Another motion to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the invoice letter to Wolf Creek Nuclear Operating Corporation regarding the annual payment for management of Coffee County Lake as it pertains to operating the access system for use by members of the public desiring to fish on the lake.
Second.
Fred has moved. Bob is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Carries 5-0. If you're ready, Ty?
Yeah. Come up here.
Yep, that's usually where they're going.
Podium.
Okay. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Should give me an excuse to put on clothes. All my attorneys running around the office and wearing shorts and dress shirts and sport coats and doing all these Zoom hearings. We don't do anything in person anymore. It's almost all audio visual. A little bit of change. Thank you. I think they're just like together there. Thank you, Connie. Just think last year.
10,000. That's it last year.
Okay, I'll just start these things out by saying I'm Ty Wheeler with Kansas Legal Services. We are a statewide not-for-profit law firm. That means we try not to make money, and some years we do good at that, and some years we break just about even. A good year, we might make a couple bucks. We operate under the same rules every law firm here in town operates under, except for we're really in it to help people who can't find help anywhere else. We help the people who don't have any other representation. If somebody calls me and they've got buku income or a lot of assets, I'm rejecting them. I'm sending them and saying, hey, Dan, should we take this case? More likely than not, I get a phone call from some attorney saying, hey, Ty, I got a lady who wants to get a divorce. She's getting beat up real bad, but she can't afford my retainer. We try very hard not to compete with private bar. We don't take cases that are fee generating. We try not to take anything that a private attorney would want to take. And we do a pretty good job of doing that, I think. We try very hard not to be in competition with the local bar. Nobody pays me enough to do any one case. When I looked at my funding source, the last time I counted, I have 56 different funding sources. What I do is take a little bit from each source, put it together, and pay for a case. Coffee County has been generous to us in the past. We were asking for the same amount that we asked for last year, because I know this year, things are all up in the air with this COVID stuff. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I had 4 county commission meetings and sat there and listened to them all discuss whether they were going to reopen the economy and what they were going to do. We got fortunate and we got some money from the federal government to help people that had COVID-related incidents. If they were applying for unemployment, we have an attorney in Kansas City that can help them with that. Same attorney in Kansas City is helping with housing issues. If somebody's trying to evict them because they had COVID issues and were laid off, we're trying to get in there and solve that. In Coffee County last year, we actually did the same number of cases that we did the year before, which is very good considering that we get some money from the Violence Against Women Act, from VAWA. It comes to the Attorney General's office, and they last year did something that we didn't expect them to do. They actually expanded their definition of what we could do with that money. It used to be we could only go get protective orders. So if somebody was getting beat up, we'd go get a protective order, and then they'd have to reapply and see if they qualified to do a divorce. And sometimes they didn't, because the asset limits are a lot different from a VAWA case to another case, to an LLC case or an ATGA case. What happened was last year they changed the definition, and if we get involved in the PFA, we can follow the whole case all the way through. We can do anything to help the victim of crime. That means we can do the divorce. We can do a housing issue that's related to that. We can even help them file for crime victims compensation with the Crime Victims Board. So if they're a victim of crime, like for example, if their significant other beat them up, tore up all their stuff, we can apply to the state for them to have the hospital bills covered, even if they're not prosecuted. And if they are prosecuted, a new thing this year is we can even sit through the criminal case with them and hold their hand through that difficult process, because some people, it's really easy to go through that criminal case, be a victim, be a witness. For other people, they're a little too fragile to go through that without help, and we can help. Used to really brag about one disability project, especially in Coffee County, because Coffee County was the one that led me to do a financial analysis of that and what we did. But 3 years ago, my paralegal that was doing disability work for 40-some years retired, and a decision was made to move the adult cases to Topeka and Wichita, where the hearings were actually held. It's a little easier to have an attorney drive across the street in Wichita than it is for me to drive down to Wichita and drive back. With leftover cases mostly, and I looked, there was one adult case and one children's case in Coffee County. But we would put $28,000 in benefits back in your community last year. Total, we put $300,000 back in the communities. And I anticipate that we're going to stay right around 10 to 12 children's cases a year and continue to do that. We have an attorney in our office, Jeremy, who is now doing disability cases. I'm doing their hearings if there are any hearings, but he's doing paperwork for the initial and the recon. We did 19 domestic violence cases last year. That includes such things as protective orders, divorces, child custody cases. If somebody calls us with a non-domestic issue, no domestic violence, it's that she calls and says, hey, I want to get a divorce and go marry my new boyfriend, and my husband, my ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband has been in prison for 10 years, is going to be there 10 more years. She's not even going to qualify for services. There is no need in that case for us to do services. She's got enough time to go hire an attorney, pay for an attorney, and that makes money. Those priorities are set on a statewide level and a local level. We have a local advisory board made up of 3 attorneys, 3 community members, and 3 client members. We have a statewide board made up of about 25 people. James Campbell from here in town was our president until just this year. And he helps us decide what cases we should take and what cases we shouldn't take. If there's a type of case that we don't take enough of, we get involved. The other 2 types of cases that we did in Coffee County, we did one CAMS case, and that's where we help a farmer with assistance with FHA loans or whatever FSA or whatever kind of federal program they are available. We do a refinancing for somebody this last year. And we did one consumer case where somebody got ripped off by a window company that put windows on their house that's probably worth more than the house. And they took out a second mortgage and then proceeded to foreclose right away. And that was sort of backhanded and abusive. So we got involved in that and stopped that. But if you talk to attorneys around town, I think you'll hear that our services are incredibly good in what we do. If you come to me with a estate of $6 million and want to do a divorce, I'm not touching it. I don't have anything to do with those. You come to me and you're getting beat up, that's where I work. That's the kind of cases I'm good at. We also have a contract with the city of Burlington to do some public defender work over there. Once a month, we have an attorney come over and do cases in the evening. So, are there any questions?
I thought I heard you say earlier you were asking for the same thing as last year's.
Yes.
Well, last year's was 8,500.
That was, 10,000 was the request last year.
No, 9,000 was your request last year.
Well, then I'm asking for 9. I got that wrong. Admin told me what I asked for.
According to the paper we got from you last year, you were asking for 9,000.
Then
9,000. We gave 8,500.
amend it 9, please. I'm not asking. Actually, if you do the 8,500, I'll be just happy with it. I know what the finances are of every community that we serve in, and it's so up and down right now with everything being shut down with the COVID virus and all the procedures we're having to change. I mean, the court procedures are crazy. We got Greenwood County. We haven't done a case in Greenwood County this whole time. They've just shut down completely. Anderson County, we do telephone hearings. Here in Coffee County, we do them by Star something. Lyon County, we do them all by Zoom. Morris and Marion, we do them by Zoom. So I haven't seen the inside of a real courtroom in about 2 months.
How many counties do you represent?
7. And I'm the only office that receives funding in all 7 counties. I'm probably the only one pig-headed enough to go around and beg to every county.
Now, there's a lot, one line item says cases in all 7 counties. So
Yeah.
I assume 7.
Yep, Lyon, Chase, Marion, Morris, Greenwood, Coffee, and Anderson. So,
Is there like type services in other districts that you perform same as you do?
yeah, we're statewide.
I assume that, but
We have a little different than that. We are the public defender in 3 counties. In Lyon, Morris, and Marion, we do some public defender work. We do that in Morris and Marion because there just aren't attorneys there. We were asked by the county commission, actually, Morris County just sort of begged us to come do it because they could not find a local attorney to do it. In Morris County right now, Judge White, who's on the bench, Laura Allen, who's the county attorney, Randy Hyman is retired. He was the city prosecutor. And then Daryl Bryant, he's not doing any cases. That's the total attorneys in town. So nobody to do a case. Chase County, we go to Chase County. There's not even an attorney's office anymore in Chase County. The only attorney over there is Bill Hamilton. Seth Myers says he's from Chase County, but he lives in Marion. So, okay.
I see you have the total representation is 50 last year, 50 this year.
Yep.
I have a couple questions on adult disability. I guess that's for all 7 counties. It's 702,000 direct benefits.
Yeah.
It's only 338,000.
Yep. We quit doing adult cases in Moria. Those are really the leftover cases.
Okay.
It takes so long for a Social Security case to work its way through the system. In Topeka, they're averaging about 24 months from the time you ask for a hearing till you get the hearing. To Kansas City, it's about 36 months. And I mean, Wichita's about 36 months now. Kansas City, heck, I can't even tell you anymore. Maybe 3.5 years. And that means you got people that are living on no income, begging off family members and just living paycheck, or, you know, little cash here and there.
it was not good last year. Is it now worse than it was a year ago when there is?
Yeah, probably. Social Security, what happened was Topeka had been pretty good. They've been averaging about 11 months to get to a hearing. And that's pretty good, actually. And what happened was North Dakota had a huge backlog of cases. And they took like 2,000 of those cases and transferred them to Topeka to do telehearings, where they do phone hearings. People come in the local Social Security office to do a hearing via video to Topeka. Well, when they transferred all those cases to Topeka, all the cases waiting in the line in Topeka all of a sudden got pushed back because those cases were so much older. And since they do them in chronological order generally, all of a sudden the Topeka cases, and really the cases from down here in Coffee County, all of a sudden went to the back line, went from 11-month wait to a 2-year wait. And Topeka, the Topeka office, has the lowest payment rate in the nation. 24% of the cases that come before a judge in Topeka get paid. You go to places like Las Vegas, Missouri, wherever, they're at 60, 70%. Here, they're just difficult. If you have a mental illness here and you're applying for a case, you better be seriously ill. They just don't like mental illness cases here.
Just so we're all on the same page, just what are you asking for this year?
Why don't we make it 8,500? Get all good.
Okay. All I need to know. That's all I need.
I appreciate it. And if
Thank
you
you.
guys hear of anybody with legal problems, send them to me. If I can't help them, I know who to send them to. And it sure takes a burden off you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ty.
Have a good day.
You too.
If you're ready, Lindsay?
I am, thank you. I will be brief today as usual. I apologize if you don't have something prepared for you. As you know, we're still working on our COVID response. That has not seemed to let up too much, whether it's in cases or phases or questions from the public. So that has been consuming most of our time in the office. We have been seeing patients since the beginning of May, and we continue to do that on the appointment basis. And the appointments are being very well utilized at this point. We're still going to continue to do that in case things expand and we need to cancel in order to do the response. As you all know, we have had 2 cases in the recent weeks. Both of them are considered recovered at this point. And after today, we will have 2 people in quarantine, meaning they were exposed, and they should be coming out by this time next week. So we are doing our daily checks with them. So far, so good. We have had a lot of questions on Facebook. We have people who watch our reports to the T, and they have questions as to why someone might be recovered so quickly. On paper, it might look that way. They don't always have access to the same information we do. These are dependent upon onset dates, and that's not something we publish. And there's many reasons why someone could appear to be recovered through our reporting. Again, there could be late testing. Someone tests later on in their illness rather than early. It could be a false positive that was verified by, followed by negative testing. So there's many reasons why that could happen, and it's hard to see the Facebook drama about that and not being able to clearly explain what's going on. So do know that we're doing the best we can, and we're trying to address those concerns as much as we can. I do have to admit that our health department budget was submitted on time. We are cleaning up our wellness one today as well as the mental wellness one. The mental wellness one is a little difficult because we haven't met in the last 3 months, so I'm doing my best. We have We did meet towards the end of last year and work up a strategic plan and have not yet been able to present that to you guys because of all of the COVID response. So it is a little difficult in projecting for next year, but I'm doing my best. And we'll get that to Donna hopefully today. So I apologize for that not being submitted by Friday. We are in phase 3 right now of the Ad Astra reopening plan, and we will be until June 22nd. At that time, we should start the phase out period. So at this time, groups are limited to 45. And again, remember that's 45 over here, separated by 6 feet with another 45 over here. So that's the approach we are taking because that's the guidance from the governor's office when this all started. I do have a meeting today with some of our long-term care facilities. They have been instructed that they are to work with their local health officer and local health department on reopening plans for reopening back to visitors. And KDAD, their regulatory agency, has provided us some guidance on that. And so we will be meeting today to discuss those plans at our various long-term care facilities. And again, each facility could have their own plan. It doesn't mean it's a countywide mandate or order. It's just us looking over their plans to see if they meet criteria. We also, even though my time has not been able to focus on mental wellness as much as I usually do and as much as I like to do and as much as needed for our community, there is concern right now from our local hospital and our mental health agency that mental health issues are increasing right now. I've spoke with both of them, and what we are seeing is people with mental health needs delaying getting that care that they might normally get when they go to the ER when they're kind of feeling not good. Now they're waiting until they are absolutely not good. They might have already attempted suicide, or they just flat out say, I'm done. And so we're seeing the severity increase, maybe not the numbers increase in the ER, but the severity is skyrocketing. So that's of concern. A Crosswind staff member told me that they had a high number of admits in the last week and month for institutional mental health care. So that's concerning, and they've had a higher number of involuntary committals as well. So I think this is wearing on everybody, and it's showing up in some of that anecdotal data that I'm receiving. So it just proves again that we need to up our mental health care in our, not just our community, but across the state. I think we all know that, but getting that done is hard work. It's taken us, 2 to 3 years to figure out how we'll address it here. So, but I just wanted you all to know that it's not fallen off of our radar. It's just, we can't commit the time that we used to figuring all of that out. We're being told by the state that COVID isn't going away. I think I keep telling you guys that this might be our new normal in my office. We're working through that and what that might look like for us. If you can imagine always having a dark cloud hovering above, just waiting for that to happen, that's how it feels most weeks, not knowing if this is going to, if one case is going to lead to 10 or not, or 10 hours of work, if nothing else. But we're hanging in there. Like I told you before, we're trying to make things fun. We're trying to use our time together when we get a chance to either exercise together or eat a meal together at the expense of the department. Just trying to recognize that this is wearing and taxing on us, but we're doing our best and uniting as a staff, of course. So there's nothing better than knowing your staff has your back through this and that we're a team. So we're really trying to make sure that feeling stays the same. We've discussed potentially, depending on how this plays out, is there a need to looking at hiring someone to be a COVID person to deal with this? It would likely be a part-time. or could it be shared with other counties? That's something that we'd like to explore. I don't know if that's feasible, but it's something to consider. Just knowing that this is our busiest time of year with or without COVID. We have school shots that we're working on, or that we should be working on, school physicals. We have a lot of days to catch up from shots we weren't doing for 2 months. So it's an interesting time for us to consider what this looks like going forward. So we're just trying to lay out some possibilities, and we'll present something to you if we come up with something that we think might work. As of right now, our budget's looking okay as far as how the response has gone. We've received some in grants, like I've mentioned before, to help cover some of it, and it sounds like there's even further opportunities coming for financial assistance. We'll keep pursuing those as they come. KDHE did make an announcement on Thursday that they have or are putting together a mobile testing unit. So if a local facility such as a long-term care facility or an industrial business, if they come down with a case or two, they can come and do mobile testing on site. So that will help immensely. We have been working a lot with Lyon County in the last few days, or late last week. They have had some cases pop up that have affected some of our residents, not to the point of infection, but potential exposure and testing. So there's been a lot of coordination and collaboration over that. We'll continue to do that, of course, but like I said, it doesn't sound like this is going away, so we're plugging along, trying to do the best that we can. So thanks for your support. We appreciate that as well. So.
Don't hesitate to tell us if there's something we can do for you, because I know it's probably taxing on you.
It is. Thank you.
So, and in your budget, are you including maybe that extra person you're thinking about, or no?
I didn't include it in what I submitted on Friday. I didn't know if it was something we should do as its own thing, or maybe as part of Carl's regional stuff. I'm not sure yet. Again, this is just a concept that we started considering recently. So I know if it came down to it, I know we could come to you guys and get support for something. It's just trying to plan what that would look like, and then again, not wasting money. I don't want to just hire someone that will sit there and do nothing. It just doesn't explode. But it's a weird place to be. So thank you for that. But our current budget does not include that. We do have some vacant nurse hours that could be allocated to it. Katie's position is only 3 days a week, and it's budgeted for 5. So we do have just 2 days a week that has always been in there. I don't want to ever exclude the possibility of her becoming full-time someday if she were, but I don't know. So.
I think you guys have done a fantastic job of what you've done, and share with all the information that we get. I actually have a group of commissioners in Southeast Kansas that we stay in contact with each other, and I share all this information with them so they know what's going on in our county and their counties. Every one of those guys said, "Man, you guys, your health department is on top of it. They're doing a fantastic job." So
thank you.
Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. It's hard, but my rule in our department is we don't not do something just because it's hard. So we persevere. We push through. So, but
Yeah, I think if you need that extra person, we'll probably figure out something together. So.
Thank you. Thank you. It's something to consider for sure. So, space is kind of an issue.
Everywhere.
Yeah, we do have, Sally hasn't been working since March. She is staying home. She does have underlying health issues that makes it not safe for her to be in public during this time. So we're, of course, supporting her through that. We probably need to do something official to make that okay as far as making her maybe part-time seasonal or something like that, but, like she used to be, so, but we would like to have her back for Medicare for sure, and then maybe it'll look a little different this year too, so. I'll keep you posted on that end, but, it's really hard right now for me and my schedule. If I were to go back to doing all of the work and all of the meetings that I was pre-COVID, I don't know how that would work feasibly. So I'm also in a weird place of not knowing if I should start taking on more or not, because it's very fluid and it's hard to find that balance when we're still doing COVID response. So yeah, it's an awkward place to be. We normally, like with a tornado, a flood, it comes, it happens, you deal, then you rebuild. This can be like having a tornado or a hailstorm every day or every week. It's a little hard to figure out how to do that, but like I said, we're learning and we're leaning on other health departments and our state association to help with that too. And we're not alone. Every county the same way. Or not every, but a lot of counties are the same way. So,
Lindsay, I think you mentioned you get a false positive.
uh-huh.
When you get a positive test, do you immediately do another test to make sure it's positive?
Not immediately, no. In a certain situation, we would. So there's a lot of testing going on across the state. If you're going into surgery, they're automatically testing you. So these could be like you and me. We have no symptoms, we're caring about our life, but we need to go in and have a simple operation. And then we get tested and then we're positive, but we have no symptoms. And so it just depends on that person's doctor and what they want to do. We would ask that doctor what they think, and if they say, yeah, let's retest, we will, or we'll get that arranged. So it's situational.
Well, there's an article last Thursday or Friday, the business in Springdale, Arkansas, I assume it's Arkansas, it says Springdale, 200 of them tested positive. Only one of them had any symptoms.
Yeah, and that,
You know, that being the case, it's gonna be hard to get a handle on this.
it is, but research can't decide if you are asymptomatic, if you are spreading disease. The theory behind what I've been told is if you don't have enough viral load to show symptoms, you might not have enough viral load to shed the virus, to spread it to someone else. So to me, a high number of asymptomatic people is a good thing. That means this isn't that bad. And it means our death rate is actually way less than what it's looking like right now. I will say one thing, the state of Kansas right now, and for the last several weeks, has been pushing that they want to test like 60,000 more people in a month. And that's great and all, but their criteria to test, you have to have 2 symptoms. So it's almost, one interpretation is that we want more people to have symptoms so we can test them. I wish they would change their messaging to say we want the capability of testing 60,000 rather than our goal is to test. It's a little strange to me that they're really pushing that. So yeah, asymptomatic is a huge, weird area. And I don't know if anyone knows about it. So we're working through it.
Well, I'll agree with what's already been said. Health department and Russell, done a tremendous job. So
Well, thank
we
you.
admire you for your work and your effort, your work ethics.
Thank you. I will put a plug in for Randy's office. We had a specimen that needed to be sent off on Friday and the hospital couldn't take it. So I called dispatch and Randy offered and drove it up to Topeka. So kudos to him for helping out as well. We did ask Bob before we knew dispatch would do it because Bob has offered as well to drive them up. So thank you for being available for that too, so. But yeah, it takes a village to deal with COVID, so. Anything else? All right, thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yep, have a good day.
Wayne, if you're ready.
Good morning.
Morning, Wayne.
Good morning. Construction zone and also revised motion. We received the bids on the precast box Friday, so I was wanting to get that motion. Keep working on that one. No road permits, no zoning permits, zoning board meeting. Just to note, there's a zoning board meeting for two cases, two special use cases on the 17th, this Wednesday at 7, and it's at the 4-H building at Kelly Park, not the courthouse basement meeting where we normally have it. So I believe that's in your packet. Next one would be to go on to the motions. That would be the analysis of 5 bridges, the change order number 1. This would be the repairs on bridge number 116. This would be the approaches on the bridge. We're needing to reinforce that subgrade and then put back the asphalt onto it. And so that's what the change order reflects.
Motion 2019-30A. Based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve the change order number 1 for B19-1308M with PBX Corporation for the approach pavement repair on bridge number 116 in the amount of $12,375. Contract price prior to the change order was $136,397. With the approved change order and incorporating this change order, the net contract price would become $148,772.
Is that the bridge on Emmer?
Yes, yeah, it's the second bridge between 8 and 8.5.
I'll move.
Bob has moved.
Second.
Don is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Now, all that work may be done after they do the overlay onto it, because this is a different contractor, and they'll come back at a later time. So just information at this point. The next one is a motion to correct CP2 for summer help. As we had started, there was, were we doing steps or were we not? This individual was hired, did come in May. I did not get that corrected on my CP2 to show that they were eligible for a step increase. And so all I'm doing on this is correcting that step increase. This is their 3rd year as a summer. And so under policy, they would be allowed to move up 1 step. And this is the policy, Cody, if you like.
So motion 2020-16, move to review and approve the updated CP2 for Kevin Burke, summer help, as to correct the employee eligible for a time and step increase for county policy. Wage classification from M1 to M2 with a wage of $11.73. Effective date 5/18/2020. Number of hours worked not to exceed 560.
It was 5/18 his first day on the job.
I believe so. The summer help actually are paid later. It's always catch up on the following month. So he actually has not been paid any of the May wages at this point. So this would reflect everything in May
So
for all the time.
that's not a problem. And then also move.
Second.
Bob has moved and Tom has second. All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. The next motion is Forterra pipe and precast. As we had two bids, you can see on there Forterra and Old Castle. This would be for the 6x4 box, and then also the end sections that would go with it. This is delivered on site, and Forterra also could start this, and hopefully might even have something turned around within 30 to 45 days on this one. If I order it this week, what they said, but their schedules are pretty busy, believe it or not, with everything that's going on. Construction continues, and a lot of these are basically out for until August, September. So that's what we ran into.
Will you be able to set these with a track out?
No, we'll have a crane. We'll have a crane come out.
3 hours, or we get that one out in 40?
No, I'll be the one out of it for you. Yeah, we've used them before. With all the safety training, the inspection, the updates that we have on our current crane, it's going to allow for future discussion, but at some point we'll probably just need to dispose of it, trade it in.
I thought we discussed that a couple years ago.
We
never did do anything with it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a lot cheaper to keep it than just to try to replace it. And then when you start working with the projects that you have before you, you find that you can make other things work, and that's kind of where we're settling in. Is we have found crane operators we feel comfortable with that help us set these boxes.
Do you have any idea approximately what that would cost for the crane?
I think in the past, Bob, just from memory, I think it was. I don't have an estimate on this, but I think it was just a couple $1,000.
Did they set two of them for us over by Lebo?
They set
There should be more mileage, I realize that.
the last one that they did set those two by Lebo. They're south of town. He also had set that one over there on 8th Road on Fauna, just south of the big bridge that was built. So he had set those as well. Of course, he is so much an hour, and it is his time of travel. But he should be able to do these within 2 days at the most.
So we've got any ballpark idea?
I don't. All I know is in the past, it was a couple $1,000 is what I'm recalling.
Okay.
But I could get that number for you, Bob, but I don't.
Okay,
I don't
that's
have
right.
Just for my information, how long are those boxes?
On these particular ones, I believe we were at, let me double check.
60.
Did we have it in the motion?
Let's put in the motion. Two boxes.
Approximately, I mean, I can
26,
give 20.
about 26, and then we'll have the end sections on top of that. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
The motion 2020-36, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move that the bid submitted by Forterra Pipe and Precast of Shawnee, Kansas, and purchase 2 precast concrete boxes at Native Road and 10th and a half at the intersection of Native Road and 10th for the Matthias Lake project in the total amount of $65,188. Funds to be paid from the special highway fund.
So moved.
Dawn has moved,
Second.
and Tom has second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, as far as construction zone, the weather's continuing to get a little better for us. We are getting a few things done. As you can see here on the bridge crew, crossroad replacement pipes. Also, they're working with us on the landfill. We also have assistant fleet. They're pretty much full-time out there on the landfill. And they do have entrance pipe as well, or will be assisting bridge crew on the entrance pipe. Patching countywide, we're getting ready for our chip seal. And our chip seal normally starts around the 1st of July, just right after the holiday. And so we are boom mowing and doing normal maintenance and getting the rock out to the blade crews. And so that's what we have for construction zone. Asphalt, to let you know that we have finished the asphalt on Trefoil. We've also finished the asphalt on Shetland. The asphalt for the intersections, we don't have an exact schedule onto it. The asphalt for right around Burlington here, we don't have an exact schedule, but his schedule is kind of going up and down with a level of uncertainty to know exactly what days that he would be here. But he's to give us at least a day's notice, and then we can assist and do the inspection as needed for the asphalt placement. And he was also given the number for Leroy Co-op down there as well to let him know when we're going to work on that intersection. So he's to contact him instead of a surprise.
So they've got access to their office and scale come in from the east, so it won't be a big issue.
So we have that line of communication out there to pass on.
We stay in touch, that's all we have.
Right, yeah, I hate to close that intersection without letting them know. The other project that we have is the 6 bridges at this point on Emmer. The bridge to the north, the one just south of 12th Road, is finished. The one that they're right now getting ready to blast, clean, and then do the overlay on is between 8 and 8.5. That one they should be finished either by Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Emmer will be opened up at that point. The next bridges is what they're looking at is coming in and doing the milling. Last I spoke with them was the end of this week. They do the milling at least on 12th, and I believe the bridge down there at Leroy is what they're going to look at. And then they would move on to those bridges. They're a little ahead of schedule, but we're also still waiting on that permit from the railroad on the overpass on Old Highway 50. So they're not able to start on that until that's finished. And the landfill, the sale right now, we expect we have a little more excavation to do, but we expect to have the clay liner either start at the end of this week or first of next week. And with the weather, seems to be quite favorable as far as being able to remove the overburden at this point to possibly even get some rain this weekend. That's going to really allow that to seal and be ready for the clay liner. We did get the rentals on the excavator and smooth turn roller. You're going to see requests for payments on those, which are leased at this point. So we're moving forward.
Other than being hot, it's nice construction.
Yes,
Or
it
weather,
is.
excuse me.
Yeah. Nice construction weather. It's dry. It is a little warm though.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Wayne, I did have a phone call, the curve a mile east of Burlington, the
Okay.
inside curve, there's a chuck hole that's dug out again. You know, you patched in here probably 2 months ago, 3 months ago, there's quite a few little chuck holes there, 6 inches deep on the inside curve.
Uh-huh.
There's a new one's already developed. You know, if it's going to continue to be an issue, we may need to just dig out, you know, a couple feet wide there for a length and they put asphalt back in it. The repair work, you know, lasted, you know, 2 or 3 months, and now there's a hole back there again. I don't know why people, you know, they always pull to the inside there, and they do get off the road, so that makes it unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
So you might take a look.
Okay.
Evidently, people are getting out driving around the county a whole lot more now, since they don't have anything else to do.
Right?
13th Lane and Links Terrace, as you come from the west, it was brought to my attention and somebody requested it. They would like to see a curve sign, because if you don't make that curve, you end up in the Neosho River. It's something to think about.
Okay.
And also at 6th and Planter, same situation. Over there where it curves, if you don't make the curve, you end up in the Neosho River. Might check those out and see if there's something justified to maybe put a curve sign up or something.
Okay. We'll check those two locations.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Wayne. Take a quick break.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Boy, it's hot out there this weekend. Fun.
It's on this week before though.
Quite the same.
I'm here. Go down the other door.
Yeah.
There's somebody way up top.
Yeah. I read then. Just keep going. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have. I know firewall one time actually was up in the tree, and there was a telephone wire. It wasn't your electric running to your house, but it was a telephone wire and electric in it.
Yeah.
And so somewhere or another, it either touched the moon or you guys were shocking. Definitely have to wake up. And you need to wait for a couple hours. No? Yeah. So be careful with those. What kind of it?
The trees in my yard, they were planting it. It's,
Oh, yeah. You know that old sun basically spins 3 or 4 hours to sharpen your blades. It makes, I was chopping away on it. It just grows up. And I sharpened the blade on that axe before I got started, and it rolled it together. So one swing, it just cut right into it 3 deep. And it's like, okay, this makes world young versus 10 swings.
that axe sounds like work.
It does. But this weather was a little warm. I was definitely drinking a bottle of water.
I drink pots.
Yeah. It's good for you. Never could get one. Never could pass that first.
Who should we order?
One of them saying it's crushing up a little bit.
So the landfill, so with excavating and some of that stuff,
Oh, I think so. We have quite a bit of equipment out there, in respect. We have at least 2 scrapers,
2 blades. And then once we start the clay line, but it's a a lot of people don't think about it, it's done. But that's over $600,000 to figure out. And that's doing it with our own forces. We pay more, for contracting it out, but, and that's a big thing. And then if you start taking a look at transfer rates and such as that, and if you compare the transfer rates in Emporia and the others, we're saving the citizens of Coffee County have a very unique opportunity with the in-county land as far as cost of disposal. Of course, you don't think about it, and you pay if you're in town or something like that, you pay the waste management to come and pick up your waste. And then we pay their fee, but in essence, if we didn't have our landfill, they'd have to haul it further and be more cost. So that's a big thing.
Hey, Tom. Well, Donna, I have to come to work just to rest up. We can give them.
Yeah, I do.
No, I think it's good. I'd like to see something up on it. I mean, guys, they take a lot of pride in their work. That's the beauty of it. I see that all the time. And how can you express it and award them? They all care about their job. They all care about what they're doing.
My grandson has his first day of swimming lessons today, he's not even ready until yet. Until once I get to see the pictures.
In the newspaper and stuff like that, a lot of people take a lot of pride. You guys have those little articles, local, what's happening. I think that's a big plus in our community.
I just wish more people would pay attention to it, have more pride.
Yeah, life is so busy, there's no excuse, but yeah, I agree with you.
A lot of people in town, right, keep the houses up, they keep the places looking nice, and then you got other stuff down together. And then we get hit up all the time about, why don't you take care of this and property? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you got 10 days to do this, and then you got another 10 days to do that, and then you gotta send another notice, and they have a right to a hearing.
Mm-hmm.
4 months down the road, if you're lucky. If you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did it?
Is that because they're opening up things, people are not camping, just get out?
Is Redwood still high?
Down here to about
Normal.
Lebo, 4th of July.
I didn't get mine.
What's
I
that?
think it was Lebo, 4th of July.
Far as I know.
Last
Yeah.
year.
Have the parade and stuff.
Yeah.
Better get out.
And now
Really
I've
doing
got it
better,
at home. I've got it pretty well cleaned up to accept, I've got it covered.
That's
I
good.
think they're trying to do it all in one day this year.
And after,
That's good to see them get back in the thing.
Mhm.
underneath and that moisture.
You just gotta take the caution, but we're still gotta get out and do
All of
that.
my whole seats.
Probably don't have a tractor.
I don't know.
They used to have it a different day.
I was told they're gonna try to have it all in one day, but I didn't see the schedule.
I haven't seen Ridley's schedule, I don't know what Ridley's doing.
They're doing everything, except the German dinner.
I haven't, they're not doing the German thing.
They're doing another little
I'm just, I asked, I just never was that comfortable.
I haven't talked to Jeff. for a
Seemed
while.
like I'm so, if it flipped over, how would I get out of it?
I haven't done that yet, so I'll let you know if it ever
Let me know for that. I'm like, I don't think I would pop right back out.
Linda's not a swimmer, so
Oh,
I, I'm not like this swimmer. I always.
oh, yeah. And those new ones you can get, you know, with CO2 filters.
New ones. I've got one as soon as you get the water.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah.
And with my boat, just an insert into the throttle. You can loop it on your belt loop, and as soon as you start to move, it pulls that out and kills the engine.
Oh, okay. Now, is it ever inflated when you're going, and the water splashed on you? Technology.
The interesting, you can replace the cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
So they caught the whole life jacket cost more than the regular life jacket. But it's so much lighter, you can maneuver and work and do things with it and makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Does, Dr. Lake come out of the sheriff's department?
Does what?
Things for the lake come out of the sheriff's department? It's no longer under sheriff's department.
The lake?
Right.
Well, they have their own little department under the sheriff. Their department number is 65, sheriff is 60, jail is 64. They still okay everything.
I did, well, Randy can, because it's the contract with Randy, it's not with the sheriff anymore.
Well, it's under, okay, it's probably not, because it's under general, and then that department is 65, so it probably never really was, but their timesheets still come from there and stuff. Because the sheriff's is 001, like payroll is 001, 60, 5100. The lake is 001, 65, 5100.
Okay,
So they have their own little department under. But they still okay all their stuff.
Right.
Well, we're a few minutes ahead of schedule, but if you're ready, Mr. Luke.
I'll just soon stand if that's all right.
Perfect.
Okay. I didn't want to take a lot of your time this morning, but I thought I would kind of update you on some of our infrastructure stuff that's going on and where we sit, and to determine whether there may be some opportunities from the county for helping support some of the things that impact the entire county. Things that impact the city is fine. Things that impact the county as a whole is something that normally over and beyond what our financial capabilities are. In the street department, we have the laser testing that they did really did not hit the mark at all. It is indicated that it had about a 10% failure rate, and once we took the mill off of the top, it came out to over 80% failure rate. And that gave us a change order of over $111,000. Now that bridge is going to be in the neighborhood of $180,000 to restore back. We are working with the engineering firm to look at how we can tie the Bowman and the Osborne Bridge together to see if we can minimize some of the extra costs associated with it. We did reopen Kennebec this morning, so that the bridge now can be utilized as it currently stands. The cross street between 4th Street and Cleveland,
The moisture that we had in 18 and 19 has deteriorated some of the sub-base under that, and the concrete is cracking, and we've got sagging spots, so we're gonna have to take that out and repair and replace. That's in the neighborhood of $300,000.
How many dollars you say, Stan?
300,000
300.
Where was that location again, I'm sorry?
on Cross Street from 4th Street to Cleveland.
Oh,
Down on Housatonic in front of the dealerships there, which is one of our largest tax bases in the retail business in Coffee County. We are having all kinds of cracks needing to fill and reseal and on that concrete. So the recommendation from our consultant and our street department is to look at replacing that with possibly asphalt instead of concrete. If we do that, then the cost goes from about $200,000 and slightly under that if we do it with the asphalt. Water lines, the 12-inch water line that serves all of southern Coffee County and also serves the Blue Water Tower in the south end of town is a contracted job. We are already completed it to Potomac. We need to go further south to past Housatonic to serve Leroy Gridley and the water districts in the south end of town. And the biggest issue there is at Allegheny. That big dip, instead of having a speed bump, we've got a speed dip. That way, we would like to relocate that to the other side of the street and remove that dip so it's not quite as bad, as that's one of the through streets east and west that we use for emergency fire protection and etc. The water projects with respect to that and the sludge removal down at the lagoons, which is going to be needing to do in the next few years, are somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 to $300,000. So it's large projects. The Drake Park, where we've got the leakage of the seepage to the dam and the need to rebuild the wall on the west side. We have the engineering done and an engineer's estimate of $250,000 to replace and repair that. We have 3 major projects that have been delayed from 18. That is Heather Street out in Country Club Heights, the cul-de-sac up at the Meadows, and the asphalt road that feeds the radio station on the south end of town, as now we have a business there with heavy trucks and stuff that's caused that to crumble. So we need to do a replacement there. We're looking at Neosho Street, ceiling from 2nd to 6th, and then in front of the courthouse, that ceiling, and then we'll use a pro seal coating over the top. We're looking at $150,000 to do that entire project. And then we'll be going from 6th Street to 16th. We have no estimate on the cost there, but you're looking at approximately a mile of major roadway. So that, if you look at the standard fees, you're looking at probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $400,000 to mill out and replace. So we have quite a few projects on the road that we would like to take care of as soon as we possibly can. With our current budgetary and our income from the infrastructure funds, gas tax and sales tax, we handle about $350,000 of projects each year. Right now, we have some funds sitting in the account from the infrastructure, special highway funds, street project funds, parks funds, and the actual infrastructure. Of that, we have almost half of that committed to projects that if once the quote unquote our current virus situation comes to a semi-close, so that we can have contractors in and do the different work that needs to be done there. So what I'm coming is, I don't imagine you have a printing press has got a couple of $3 million sitting on it, ready to pass out. But I do know that also in the Spark program, if you've been involved in looking at that through the state, there will be over $1 million coming to the county for distribution for your own self as well as the communities. Those funds are supposed to be available in July. They have to be spent by December, or they have to be returned back to the state. And they cannot be used to handle currently budgeted projects. It has to be something that's new that you currently cannot use to offset either budgeted projects, or you cannot use it to offset loss in revenue. So it's new projects that we feel we could use a portion of those funds quite well. We pinch our pennies pretty well. We get about as much blood out of a nickel as anybody else does in getting things done. I would like to look at a 2 to 3 year program with respect to additional funds coming to the city, in something in the neighborhood of $300,000 over and above the current infrastructure fund. That would put us in a position of where we can catch up on what's been delayed. It allows us to also take care of 2 of the critical pieces of Cross Street and Housatonic, which gets a lot of traffic and travel, and it supports the schools and any other activities that are going up there. It also supports the dealerships. We're not quite sure exactly why the sub-bases have failed at those 2 locations as much as they have. And we are also putting money away on savings for replacement and addition of generation at the electric plant. The newest piece of equipment out there in the generation is 15 years old. The majority is between the age of 35 and 55 years of age. Parts are getting extremely difficult to find, and it's almost impossible to get somebody to make the part to fit the equipment. So we have placed money aside. We are probably 2/3 of the way to having the funds available to look at starting that project to do that replacement. So we're not looking at any financial support for that. But if we can get a 2 or 3 year program, it would be a considerable help and make it a good solid infrastructure where we can serve the fire departments in the different cities. We can support the water systems in the southern half of the county and have those up and running and available in a short period of time. Maintenance is becoming a major issue with a couple of those things. So it's critical if we don't want to have to go out for a bond. We already have city sales tax, but that's to pay off the debt with the water plant and the infrastructure that we've built on the sewer system and the new lift stations. So that's kind of where we sit. And if we can get some financial support, we can move forward quickly, fill in the voids where we can get contractors in to do the work. Whether it's somebody that does the boring under the roads. We do not have the equipment to handle 12-inch water lines for the installation, boring, and installation of those, nor do we have the concrete. So those particular projects would have to all be bid out. And right now, it's difficult to get a contractor that's to come in because there's so many projects that are going on. But if there's any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. If there's any discussion, I'll also be willing to be involved with that.
I guess I'll just start. Kind of amazes me because I represent a couple of the other cities around. And I'll guarantee you they're having the same problems you are. And we just gave you $209,000 in infrastructure, and I'm going to use Gridley as an example. We get in $42,000. They're trying to replace sewer and everything else. They've got a lot of street problems and everything down there too. But they're not in here, keep asking for more and more. I have no problem with the bridge, of helping you with the bridge, because that was an unforeseen thing. That bridge is kind of in the county. And there, I have no problem with that, but I am not gonna vote to give you more infrastructure money for your cities and stuff. You guys have 2% sales tax, the people from out, Burlington's kind of the hub of Coffee County. Everybody else in the county comes into Burlington and does their business. They pay 2% extra, it goes to the city of Burlington. Plus, then you want to turn around and you want us to give more of those same taxpayers' money for the city of Burlington. I can't support that.
Okay.
And I appreciate you. If I was you, I'd be doing the same thing. If I was the mayor, I'd come in and ask for the same thing. But I will also give you some support on the bridge, because that was an unforeseen.
I agree on the bridge. So you said on Fourth, across to Cleveland, or across from Fourth to Cleveland.
Mhm.
So that was related to the flooding. Could application be made to FEMA for that?
From all the information that we have received and the inquiries we've made, the answer to that is no. They are looking at a 100% direct impact. We can't come up with 100% direct impact as to that failure. I do know that part of it is due to the water that's seeped underneath and eroded some of the subbase, but we can't say that that's wholly.
You said 300,000 a year, is that the way I understand?
Yes, I don't want, because we can't do all these projects all at one time.
Right.
It's got to be done over time. It allows us, if we know that the funds are going to be available, allows us to go out and get the contractors ahead of schedule, allows us to fit into when the schools are closed to do there. And it allows us to get possibly the same contractor to do Housatonic as it's doing at the school there on Cross Street. Those both serve the county as well as the city.
And the county use Tony. Of course, they use both of those, but
Right, yeah, there's,
all out there. I'll go back to, again, the infrastructure money that was set and given was what, the year 2000 we determined?
yes,
Yeah, and it has not increased. The cost of doing everything has increased. So
I don't think they're right.
I mean, not just for the city of Burlington, but for each city individual. They're all, each and every city. I mean, they're all in the same boat. I mean, while we have the chance to help our infrastructure with the Wolf Creek dollars we are given, we need to do it now before we can't do it. I mean, because the cities are our infrastructure for the county as far as I'm concerned. If they're up in good shape, by the time these tax dollars start going away, the better off we are, I think. That's just my opinion.
I don't think the infrastructure was ever intended to be based on a percentage or inflation. I think it was, the county had some money and they were willing to help the cities. I think they've done a good job of helping the cities and they've continued to do it. And as long as we're able, I have no intent of taking that away. But I don't think that it's the county's responsibility to rebuild all the cities. I think the cities have some responsibility. With hitting infrastructure money, it helps. So Tom and I are going to disagree on this probably, but that's okay. That's why we have that right.
You know, this is one of those things that, like I said, every city's involved in the same situation. Every city needs to continue to make updates on streets and water and sewer and everything. And it takes a lot of money. And there hasn't been any changes since 2000 or whatever. And you can discuss it. I won't use the word argue. You can discuss both sides of it.
oh, yeah.
And value is on both sides. And I know I made a comment here several months ago that I think maybe we do need to be a little bit more aggressive and maybe kick that $1 million up. To what level, I don't know for sure. But you've got a lot of projects here that exceed $2 million right quick.
Yeah.
Do they need to be done next week or next year?
No, that's the reason I
But
was
they do
looking
need to
at
be put in a
2 to 3
plan.
years. We need to get them into a plan so that we can.
Maybe 3 years a little bit too quick, Stan, but what's the 2% sales tax generate fund-wise for the city?
Well, the 2%, it's divided 3 ways, okay? Part of it goes into half of it goes into the general fund. The other half goes into street infrastructure and paying off the debt at the water plant and the sewer system that was rebuilt. So 0.5% to the water department, half to the streets, and 1 to the general fund.
How many dollars that generates total?
Oh, we get approximately $1,050,000, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I will just say this, the 2%, unless you live in the city of New Strawn, have a New Strawn designated address, anywhere you live, 66839, you pay the 2% that comes to the city of Burlington. I live out in the country, my phone bill, I pay 2% that goes to the city of Burlington because I have a 66839 address. If I get on Amazon, I pay a 2% because I have a 66839 address. So the city of Burlington is getting a lot of revenue from people outside the city of Burlington to start out with. They're getting a 2%, and we're not in the city of Burlington with the city. I don't have the city's utilities. I don't have the city's sewer. I don't have their water, any of that stuff, but I'm still paying the 2%. On my phone bill or anything like that because of my zip code. The only place that they finally New Strawn got it eliminated if you put NS on your bill. So.
See, I live a mile in Coffee County, yet I got a Woodson County zip code because of the way the postal service is set up. So I don't know exactly where some of my percentages go to, really. So I'm within 3 miles of Leroy and 10 miles, 11 miles from Ocean Falls.
Yeah.
But it's just the way the postal service is set up. And we couldn't get a change 20 years ago.
Back to the bridge. The Osborne Bridge is around $100,000, right? Was what it came up to. I don't remember. I don't have the exact number.
We don't have the final number on that.
But the
Because they
guesstimate,
haven't finished the engineering and gone out for bids.
the guesstimate was,
Well, the estimate was normally down and around the same price as the Bowman Bridge.
okay, what made the Bowman Bridge come to $180,000? Does that include the $40,000 you guys have already spent
Yes,
on it?
Yeah.
So,
it's a $111,000 change order.
and that was because the LiDAR or
Whatever that system was,
did not
did not give us
predict it
accurate
correctly, and
information.
it did all the other bridges
Yeah.
that they did. But things like that can happen. But like I said, I'm not opposed to helping with that bridge, but that's the extent of what I'm going with.
Okay. I'll go back to, again, as far as the infrastructure money, and they've made it 20 years ago on the amount, cost of doing any sort of business. It's more than doubled since then, I would say. You know, what I did bring up early, I think last year, about if nobody else was in favor of upping the infrastructure money, maybe doing a cost share type thing. I mean, he's asking for $300,000 a year for the next 3 years, roughly.
Yeah, that's less than half of what the projects are.
Yeah. So I don't think it's I think it's something to maybe everybody can ponder and think about.
All right, my concern would be, are we setting ourselves up for more repetition of the same thing? Just like yours, we get the sludge removal on those dunes. I mean, when those were built, we knew.
And we have some of the money stashed away to do that, and we're doing that on an annual basis. It's just that that's part of what all the infrastructure that we do with the funds that we get right now.
Right, and that should be amortized into your sewer rates, just like the water line. Your wholesale rates. I'm assuming the primary reason for upsizing that line is for your
We're not upsizing, we're replacing. Yeah.
So that's just aged infrastructure.
Yeah.
Same thing, I mean.
Infrastructure and stuff, we can discuss that, we can discuss it, but I look at the bridge project, we probably need to make a decision whether we're gonna help with that bridge or not, because that's gonna might make a difference whether that road's gonna be open or not.
So
So,
we opened it up this morning.
you opened it up, but it's not
It's
right.
it's not right.
It's
but
not right,
It's
and
open.
it's not gonna stay open forever
No.
for the way you did it, so.
No.
And if you could combine the two bridges together, we close the road, fix the two bridges, open it up, hopefully never have to do it again, so.
They should both be a good
I
40-year
am,
lifetime.
so I think that I think we're looking at two different things.
Right. And I don't think anybody's disagreeing on the bridge.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I'm just looking past that. I mean, if we're saying, okay, 111,000 this year is gonna help them for the next 40 years.
Right.
How, another $300,000 a year spread out over the next 3 years helps them get that much further down the line as far as infrastructure everything being in place for when.
We've been working on the streets now, for 7 years. During that 7 years, we went from a 20% good roads to 80%. We're now at a point where we did all of the easy fix up as much as we could, the chip and seal and asphalt, and now we're in the high cost areas of the concrete work. And those are expensive. When we first started these projects, they were $75 basically a block, 75,000. Now we're looking close to 200.
Yeah.
And if you take it out, put in 8 feet or 8 inches and rebuild the sub base, you're looking at over $200,000 where it was 75,000.
Okay, back to the bridge.
Yep.
What was the estimated cost on that?
The original,
The original?
$56,259.12.
And you say now it's gonna be 180,000?
Well, you add the 56 to the 111, you're looking at $168,000. If we can get the two tied together, hopefully we can get it for a little less than that.
You took the wrong bridge.
I don't know if it was a flip of the coin or how we ended up with it. We can change back.
Wayne, where did we take the money for that other bridge from? Do you remember?
Well, initially, we were looking at special bridge fund, but at this point, with the obligations that we have in special bridge fund, which I can explain to you where they're coming from, we won't have enough to cover both of those bridges. So if you're gonna have additional costs associated, that would have to, I don't know, another fund. So maybe your community.
That's what I wanted. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Is there anything wrong with using community improvement reserves?
Well, we may not even have to use reserves. But I'm just, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it kind of comes to community improvement.
Exactly.
It does. I'm just trying to figure out how much what I think we should. But no, community improvement or reserve. How much do we have in community improvement? Because we've got community improvement there to use. And if it runs out for some reason, we need it, we can always pull out a reserve and put in. But to me, that's one of the reasons why we have some of these funds built up is for things like this.
But we're taking our reserves funds and using half of them towards these projects as well.
I know this may be a sore subject, but when you guys moved, you spent a lot of money when you moved, right? That you could have went into streets and stuff.
No,
No.
none of it came out of those funds.
Okay.
None of it.
Okay.
And we did all the labor ourselves.
And they did a good job. You guys did a fantastic job on it. So you spent 40,000 so far on it, of that bridge?
Yeah. I'm gonna say exactly for you, but it's right at that number. And we're obligated to the other 16, so. I mean,
Right.
So to finish that project up, over and above the 40, take another 127.
124.
124.
124. Because they're already obligated for at least 16 of it. They said they would do. So if you take the 140 in, there you go.
So there's no question that those bridges need to be fixed right. So we can get as much longevity out of those bridges as possibly can. It'd be good if they'd be fixed together, which might possibly save 10% on the total contract.
Right.
Don't know exactly what those figures are, but I got to agree with Bob, you know, this is the project we need to be a major player in and get it done right.
We're probably looking at close to, for the two, probably looking at $250,000 if we get a good deal.
Probably, yeah, at least 2 1/4.
And that sounds better yet.
Okay, in community improvement, 1,405,863, and in reserve is, yes, 386.
How much in reserve?
4,456,386.
There's almost 4.5 million in that community reserve.
Since you guys, since at the beginning, we approved the bridges and we took the big bridge, which we thought was gonna be more expensive to start out with. And you got the small bridge. What percentage are you thinking we should help you with on the small bridge? Don't say 100. I mean,
I'll tell you right now, whatever we can obtain is critical because it allows us to continue to work towards filling in all of our other projects that.
I mean, if the little bridge would have came in at a bid of 75,000, you still would have, you've been committed to 75,000.
Yep.
I personally got no problem with 100,000 because last year we spent 60,000 to pave a road last fall because we couldn't wait till spring.
Good. And the way it turned out, we should have probably just went ahead and
Waited till spring.
fix those joints best we could and wait till spring.
I have no problem with that, but at the same time, can we commit and can we commit to help and not give a price until we get the bid of the two combined and see what
Yeah.
it is?
It's just a matter, it's just knowing that
That's,
we can come back and say, here's what now, we know exactly what the cost is gonna
it
be.
takes 100,000, it takes 100,000, but if it doesn't, then it doesn't.
That's not a problem.
So I don't know what the rest of you think. I'm thinking, maybe can we just wait till they get, if we can commit and say, yeah, we're willing to help in a very good way.
Okay.
Just,
Now, my question, have you guys been involved with the Spark program at the state? And knowing what they're doing?
I have not. No.
Okay. Come July, they're have the funds out and it's $148 per person in the county, the funds that we would get. So if we had 8,000 people for round numbers and $150 a head, we'd be looking at $1.2 million that would be coming to the county for distribution out, whether that would go to the cities or whether you'd have county projects or whatever. Those funds have to be spent by the end of the year. If they're not, they go back to the state.
is per person or per taxpayer?
Per person, per head count.
A head count.
So we've got 8,000 and some people in the county,
Honestly, we, the county, we don't have very hardly any parks, so I'm sure we would be willing to split the money out somewhere, but because we don't have any parks to speak of.
So it's what we would, which is funds that might be available also. It wouldn't work for the Osborne and the Bowman Bridge, because those are already projects that were included. But it could be any other project.
So even though it's coming from parks, it could be used on streets and stuff?
Yes, you could use on any infrastructure.
Anything.
Well, it's not really park, it's Spark.
Spark.
S-P-A-R-K.
No,
Yeah, and it's for revitalization of Kansas is the last, I don't remember all the.
That'd be interesting, maybe when we get that, then we can figure out what we need to do with it, and maybe there'll be something there we can help you with a little bit, help others.
And the key thing is, it's supposed to be in July, because they've met 2 or 3 times. So those are additional funds that you will have available for whatever.
Where's all this money come from? It's not free,
No, this money is coming from the federal government.
which is not free.
They say it was.
I know.
It's a long ways from being free.
It's not gonna be free.
So,
Who applies for this money?
nobody. You're gonna receive, you don't have to make application.
Really?
My understanding is it's a program that the Sparks has identified, and this is how they were gonna allocate it. And one of these days, if everything that I hear when I have my mayor's conference calls, it's funds that will be coming directly to the county, designated for the revitalization, and here's the things that can be used for, and here's the documentation that whoever uses the funds has to supply back to the city
How long you got to spend it?
till the end of the year.
You know, the timeframe on that to me is
That whoever uses the funds has to supply back to the city
How long you got to spend it?
till the end of the year.
you know, the timeframe on that to me is way too short.
Well,
I mean,
I'm not arguing that
who's
point.
gonna have project, who's gonna have brand new projects to where they can kick in and use those funds?
Well, it could be projects that people already know, but it's not been budgeted.
Yeah, but
It's something we'll be looking for, like we're working on budgets right now for
you may have
next
to go
year.
out and get a bid to even make
Yeah,
that.
we have to go get a bid to get it. We have to get contractors online. I mean, there's a multitude of things that's going to create issues, but
I've heard a little bit about this, but when you mentioned the budget, is this gonna be, can you spend this above and beyond your budget without
yes, it has to be something that's not in your budget.
something that's not in the budget?
That's correct.
So if you can spend it above, you're okay.
Yes. And that you cannot use it to offset lost revenue.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? Any other
I
questions?
appreciate you coming in and staying.
All right.
Understand.
We try.
We will help support you on the bridge.
Okay. All right. We'll go from there.
When will we know these costs for these bridges?
We have already gone to the engineering firm. They are finishing up the design on what needs to be done now on the Bowman Bridge. I would say it's probably gonna be 6 weeks in that neighborhood. Because they wanted a month to do engineering, and we said, wait a minute, it's only 10 feet shorter than the other one. It's the same structure, it's the same I-beams, it's the same everything, it's just 10 less feet. And they came down and were in the process of measuring to make sure we were correct, and that's gonna cut a lot of time out of their engineering and design. So I would hope that within, by the end of July, we would be ready to go out for bids.
Yeah, it's the same firm bids, both of them. They're probably gonna do a better project too.
Better projects, less, they only have to come to town once. And
Roads only closed once.
the road's only closed once.
Okay.
Once more. All right,
Thank you,
I'll
Stan.
keep you up to date on where we sit on that.
Keep us informed.
Will do. All right, thank you.
I'm doing some math on that Sparks money is what I'm doing.
Shirley, if you're in.
Hi, Shirley.
Hello.
It's always a pleasure to have you come in.
What?
It's always a pleasure to have you come in.
Yay, thank you. Do you all have your handy dandy little paper in front of you for mine, or did I need to bring copies? I did not.
No, we don't have copies.
There's nothing in the book.
You don't have copies.
We do not have copies.
Well, I didn't know what the protocol would be because of my COVID.
I can go.
Okay, well, while she goes do that, I'll just, talk. Sure. All right, so my name is Shirley, I'm with the museum. This is for the budget request for the museum for next year. When you get the paperwork, you'll notice that we are asking for the same that we did last year, so we're not asking for over anything. So I'm gonna give a little recap of what we have done, in 2019. We had some tours to do with homeschoolers, so we were able to get traveling trunks from Topeka. And we were able to do about 10 to 20 students per month we did these for. We also had school tours in 2019 in the month of May that brought over 300 students in. We partnered with the library to bring the Wizard of Oz performer to the Coffee County students. And I was actually approached by extended learning students' teacher to actually have them come in and create displays, which they did at the end of 2019. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about this because I think that was an amazing idea on her part. I did not come up with it, but we hosted it. The students came in and I gave them a talk about basically what it's like to be in the museum and how to make a display and what you have to look for, what you got to ask, what you got to put on signage, teach, don't preach, things like that. So the students went out and they gathered things for this, and then they put the display together. So it was all on them. Once they completed it, we had about one or two displays per gallery. And then we opened it up to the elementary school students and some of the middle school students. So basically you've got these middle school students who were about, how many did we have? We had 14 students that actually put the displays together. Middle school students, they did all this work, and then they spent a full day and they gave tours. So they actually kept repeating and explaining to all these little students. That is amazing for a middle school student to do. Not only did it show responsibility as far as to learn, but also to educate. So I was very proud of them for all that they did. And that right there, I think, was the hardest part for them, was being able to communicate what they learned to the littles. We actually had that going. We just recently had them come take that down once we were able to open up the museum back up. Last year we had 4 different speakers. We had college takeover tour, and they talked about mental health for the students and where you could try to find help, as well as trying to get over the stigma surrounding that. We had Fast Break, which was trying to overcome racial relations through baseball and other sports. We had someone come in and talk to us about researching their homes and the people that had lived there. We also had a storyteller come in October, because it's kind of fun talking about room for grown-ups. We switched HVAC contractors from Modern Air to a local, which is Trinity Team. For our repairs, we had the parking lot replaced, the front sidewalk replaced, and we finally had the church and school interior repaired. It's been a long time coming. We finally got that done. We had a wedding before that happened, and this year we had a wedding following the completion of the repair for that. We had museum gala with a speaker and a silent auction, as well as Pioneer Days, which was moved to September last year. Unfortunately, due to the rain and the flooding that had happened, we weren't able to offer the outdoor activities in which we were hoping. So this year, we finally, after even more years, have just got it completed. Our HVAC control system, we have moved it from ASI to Altron, which is $30,000 that we had. We had been coming in for several years, putting money aside for future HVAC upgrades. This was part of that. We're able to get into our HVAC system now, so that we're able to for humidity and temperature. The pandemic happened. It's kind of funny and not at the same time, because when this happened, I realized I did not prepare for a pandemic, and I felt very bad. Through the whole thing, we learned things that we needed to put into, obviously, our paperwork as far as like our board meetings go, things like that. We really were not prepared for even how to handle that. So that's a few things that we're trying to incorporate into it as well.
I was able to remain open but not open. And by that, I mean I was still at the museum, I was still working. I was in the middle of preparing for the auditor, so I was scanning all of last year's files and things like that. I sent Erin home, and she did daily videos on our Facebook page. So I hope some of you had actually seen one or two of them. I thought they turned out very well. I was very proud of her for all the work that she put into that. Along with that, we realized that with the museum, we're for tourism. We're used to people coming in and doing things like that. All of a sudden, that stopped, and that kind of created this panic around the museum world. What are we going to do now? We were unprepared because we actually, our website, we're not able to get into it. We know we were having to try to find a new provider and create one for ourselves. So this is something that has actually been moved up. In addition to that, I've realized, you know, I've been spending so many years of trying to get more community involvement, trying to get things like that. And I still think that is extremely important in children and to learning. But there's also a platform that I didn't think about as much as I should have, and which I do know now, which is actually the tourism section of bringing people into Coffee County. And like I said, I've been trying to focus so much on the children and the community. I have not thought as much as I should have on that. Once things kind of calm down, as far as when we know the social distancing isn't taking place as much, it's one of those things that I really want to get more involved with the chamber. We have so much, we're like a gold mine in Coffee County for tourism, and it's really underutilized. And I think that we just need to get all of the little spokes together and then promote. Right now we're trying to promote, but we haven't really laid that foundation of how we're, you know, of the foundation. So the coming years, I want to actually, you know, like I said, collaborate with more of the tourism sections in Coffee County, and really trying to build something that would be good for the tourism section. In 2021, the things that we have left for the for repairs for the roof would be the Cochran School and Church. The web page, obviously, I just mentioned, for more online accessibilities. Continue with our tours and to highlight more of the tourism with the chamber itself. Is there anything that any of you would like to talk to me about? No?
Any questions right now?
All right. Well, within the narrative, everything is a line item like normal, so everything should be pretty easy to see. Or if you have any questions on where any expenditures were, they're listed. If you have any questions, just give me a call at the museum and I will come right back. Wonderful.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shirley.
Very nice.
Remember the ones we used to get.
Yeah. Randy was here, but stepped out. So we get started with roundtable, and hopefully Randy and Wade will be back. Do you have anything? That's one for when Randy gets back. We got a payroll notice for a jailer. Randy did turn in a letter with it. There he is. Just getting ready to start roundtable, and we got your payroll notice for Mr. Davison.
Yeah.
You want to read the letter, or you want to explain it?
It's up to you, whatever you want to do, Cody.
Brian Davison, hired March 4th, 2020 as LEA 1 jailer, Coffee County. Would normally be in the 6-month IPP period, but however, due to his previous corrections experience, and he has exceeded your qualifications before the 6-month period, so you want to move him up from LEA 1 to LEA 2.
Yes. He is a tremendous asset. He worked in juvenile corrections in Topeka at the State Juvenile Correction Facility for quite some time. I brought him in at an A just because I didn't know him. And so I wanted to see if he would adapt to adult correction versus juvenile correction. It's a whole different ballgame. And he has exceeded way, way beyond what our expectations was. And so I just felt like he needed to be moved up to that second step just because he has become such a valuable asset. In fact, I would look for him to start doing some of our training in the next 6 months. He's just that, he has proved himself far above and beyond. And so but he's struggling just like everybody else, I know. But I just would like to go ahead, and my thought was I'm to waive and move him up that next step.
But that's 6 months IPP, right?
It usually is a 6 month
We're
IPP.
talking March, April, May, June, July, and August. We're talking only 2 more months.
Right.
Would it really be bad to keep him where he's at for 2 more months? I mean, would it, in all reality, would it? I mean,
It's half a dozen, one or the other.
Yeah.
It's just that, when you're only making $14.50 an hour, it's hard to feed a family, pay a mortgage, have a car. I mean, I know we're doing the study and everything. I know that, but man, it's so hard on $14.50 an hour. And that's the reason we've done this. I know other offices have done it. I've done it for a lot of years now hindsight, had I perhaps had to do over, I would have hired him in at a B, just because of previous experience. We do that a lot when we have like officers come to us that are already certified, that sort of thing. He's not certified through our jail corrections school, which is it's not mandated. It's provided. I send everybody. I just think it's a 40-hour certification program, but due to COVID, the spring class was canceled. And so, he will go in the fall, but no, Bob, to answer your question, it isn't. It's just one of those things that came across my desk and I had no problem with it, based on it being recommended by his
I missed something. I thought we were talking about LEA.
Nah.
We're talking about LE, right?
We're in the bottom.
And LE1?
Well, whatever the jailers are.
Okay, I thought we were talking LEA 1. I thought I'd heard somebody say.
Well, whatever the jailers are, I think they're an LEA, aren't they?
LEA 1, they're going, yours is.
Yeah, LEA.
Which is an increase in wages of
96 cents.
96 cents, which is almost that significant.
It is.
So, but if he's an LEA 2, he's $18 an hour.
No, that's not what he's going.
LEA
You need to
1.
drop down, Bob. Drop down to the.
Just go left to right versus up and down.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is. It's 96 cents.
Right, okay,
That's 96 cents,
No, it's one of those deals where it's almost insignificant for no more than he's gonna be getting. I can understand where you're coming from. But when he was hired on knowing
He was.
he was gonna be set 6 months.
No, and the thing is, he hasn't approached me about this. This was a supervisor. We consulted, it came to me, the undersheriff and I looked at it, and that's the reason I wanted to, but in trying to work with the commission, I think, with the process we're using, the payroll notices and everything, I'll just say it's been a common practice or has been done in the past. Now, whether we're gonna go down a new path, I just need to know. If we're gonna go different direction, I know it's in our policy manual about the waiving of IPP and that sort of thing, but yeah, you're right.
And I appreciate you coming in. I do appreciate that. I think that's what we should do, but I have problems. I want to go down a different path, and I think we're all trying to get working on going down a different path. And got to draw the line sometime. I think 2 months is kind of insignificant myself. For 2 more months, and then move the guy up. That's just my thing. Especially if he had, you haven't talked to him, haven't asked him about it. evidently he's fine with where he's at.
Yeah, he's not
And I
complaining.
understand what you're doing.
I just know what I see.
And
And
as a supervisor, I'd probably be doing the same thing for my employees.
I remember those days of making, wasn't $14.50 then, it was like $7.50 an hour, and trying to feed a family and pay a mortgage, and especially when you got, like for him, and I'm bringing up stuff that I just know he has to come to, 2 teenage boys. The grocery bill ain't cheap, And so it's just, it is what it is, and I just let me know where the commission stands, and we can go from there. So anyway.
Where you're at on.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got an update of where we're at with compensation study.
I know I talked to Lisa last week, and they were progressing pretty quick. I mean,
Yeah.
I had two, I think we had all mine. I got the lake director one in, and I think the only one left for my office anyway is as sheriff. And I had questions on it about the statutory language and stuff.
My hopes would be that as we're getting closer, that maybe these come back and
Yeah,
maybe he can get more.
I tell you what I'm willing to do. I'll pull it off the table for 2 months for the 6-month IPP period, and we'll revisit it again.
See where we're at then.
How about that? That gives us time to see where the wage study's at, because it may be insignificant or irrelevant. At least we'll know what direction. I think within 2 months, we'll see what direction, and there's other things I can do to help him out.
But I guess they had a final date on that, it's October, and another 2 months is gonna get us into mid-August, they're gonna have a good idea.
Yeah, I think,
I would like to see it kind of hold on for Randy for 2 months.
and I'm willing to do that.
Since he agreed to come forward,
Absolutely.
even though he has exceeded your expectations,
Far exceeded, yeah.
there, maybe he needs to be rewarded, but we also need to take a stand.
And I'm willing to pull it back off the table, and we'll just, I think, talking to Lisa, I think they're moving right along. She said they had a good response from the other agency, counties and all that they've had a lot of good cooperation and everything, so she's going on with that. I would just instantly tell you before I get into this IT stuff that we did just recently present some scholarships to kids in the community. This is something good. Through our reserve program, the reserves work and earn money on our contract with the Corps of Engineers for extra patrol services. And we started a number of scholarships. We started the Ken Rodney Memorial Scholarship, and the family's taking it. So we did the Troy Rogers Memorial Scholarship, and Abigail Dunn is Jared Schulte's stepdaughter. She got the Troy Rogers Memorial, which I thought was pretty special. And then we had a girl from Waverly, Adeline Tackett, got a scholarship. SEC, Briley Copeland, Burlington, Kel Johnson got a scholarship, and then Lebo was Lanny Patterson. And I didn't know a lot of these kids. I knew Briley, and I knew Abigail, Abby, and I knew Kel, but I didn't know Adeline or Lanny. I don't know. But anyway, that's a good thing. So I guess I'll go into the IT stuff. In reviewing everything and what roads to go down with Sheriff's Office, it's going to be, I think, more productive to go in the direction of taking Tasha and moving her back to communications over communications director, and still do the admin side as far as those 3-4 personnel. But I think we do need an IT person, just because I think of the significance of the road we've gone down that are with the mandates of technology. With the jail, we do electronic fingerprint system as an example, and direct communications with the state. On our officer side, they do all their reports electronic. I mean, everything's just heavy computer-based stuff now, as well as I think you're going to see the trend. We voluntarily do video, camcorders, body cams, in-car cameras. Our interviews are recorded. I don't think it's going to be voluntary very soon, whether it's a federal law or state law. mandatory is coming. I truly believe that, given the world today and our state of our country. So I visited with Wade, and our system that we currently do, our video and our pictures and everything, and we're going to try to find a better method in which we can deliver the product he needs in a more effective manner. But in doing so, a lot of security issues are at stake. Those videos, the pictures, and reports. And so, I've gone down this road before with the commission, talking about the specific needs of the sheriff's office, basically whether it's virtual or whether it's hard physical servers, there needs to be some separation and password protection, and that needs to be very limited. And so in my mind, I got one of two decisions to make. I either need a contract with an outside vendor, which in this case would be Advantage Computers. They do a number of sheriff's offices in this region, as well as other court systems, private businesses. They've been through it. A contract with them for 1 day a week, plus on-call availability, would be in the neighborhood of 28,000 base, with then also after hours call. The rates, let me see here. If I read, and I don't have that in the contract, but basically after hour rates are $125 an hour. Holiday rates are $175 an hour. And that's after hours. Like, we needed them the other night. We had a computer go down on one of our consoles, 911 center. We did everything we could to try to get it back up, and it just wouldn't come back up and I don't understand all the tech. Basically, something needed to go in there and it wasn't talking to each other. We called them, they sent a tech over, and at first he couldn't get it. We struggled, and then by working with them, and him and Tasha were in here till about 11 o'clock at night. That's just an example, but they finally got it. And so that's an example of the services they would provide after hours. But that's going to be a proposition, I think, of between the services they would provide after hours. But that's going to be a proposition, I think, of between, my estimate would be 35 to 45,000 a year. By the time, if you do you have to do servers or, the technology equipment. Some of this is going to get replaced in dispatch. And we try to update computers on a regular basis. But I can see some upgrades needing done with our equipment. We're going to be able to, what was that called, Wade? The method you said? What was that? The type of video? MP4, that's it. MP4. And so, I can see us having to do some stuff, as well as the IT services side, or I can hire me an IT person for the county, for me, that would basically do what Advantage Computers would do. And obviously, I've looked at the wages for the county, and that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood, I'd say, starting wages for a good IT person, I think, at a minimum, is probably 45,000. I mean, that's just a guess on my part. I don't know what the market is showing. I don't know. I think there's probably some IT people out there available, job-wise. But I want to work with the commission, but I think there are certain thresholds that I'm going to have to meet based on state regulations, state requirements, in order to maintain the 911 center, the PSAP, transmissions with the state of Kansas. And I just have to, I think, and I'll just be straight up, I just have to hold the line and say, I need to be able to control that portion of my IT. It's just indicative. And we're one of the few sheriff's offices that are not set up in that manner currently. If you want to talk to every sheriff around here, they are independent, standalone systems because of security and the importance of it. That's just the way it is. And it's not to say that our IT people aren't capable. They are. It's an after hours thing as well. It's just We're up 24/7, 365. If an officer's computers go down that has to come back up. It has to be worked on.
So you don't feel like our current IT department, in your mind, with all the security that you've got to meet with the state, and we're getting into that ball game?
Sure.
I don't know nothing about it.
Me, I struggle with it.
But you're suggesting that there's, I shouldn't say no one, but in the best circumstances, our current IT department, they're qualified to do it,
Sure.
but it's not a good fit.
I don't think it is a good fit, just because of the requirements and my needs, I guess. My needs for a versatile person to do, like when we have to deal with WatchGuard, which is our video company currently. There's times when Tash has had to be on the phone for 4 hours with them, trying to resolve a technical issue. I mean, and that's not an exaggeration. You get on the phone with them, you start at the lowest level of technician, and they just take you up the scale until they resolve the situation. And she's been on the phone for 4 hours with them. Things go down on weekends, things go down in the evenings. I need to have that versatility employment-wise to say, you need to come in. I need you to work. And not saying that Brad wouldn't or Adam wouldn't. I'm just saying, employment-wise, I think it's indicative to have an employee that works for me to work with the county IT though, and try to build, I would like to see us build a positive relationship to where we can work together, you know, but we're paying for outside services now. I mean, currently, and I don't know why or what the terms are with the contract we have with Doug Vanderlinden, for example. I don't know, I can't remember the name of his company, but we contract, I think, for around $6,000 a year. Maybe that's $5,000 or $6,000 of savings. I don't know. I don't know what he does. I don't know what the terms of the contract, but that's an example. And if I have to pay, you know, $35,000, $45,000 for technology services from a vendor, and then you become outside dependent on an outside vendor and availability. And Advantage Computers does a good job, but you know, you end up with that money. Plus then currently in my budget, I have money for 2 positions, the communications director and the IT admin director. There's some money there that could be condensed into, and perhaps, who knows, maybe be cheaper. One of the other things I've given consideration to, and I have not had a chance to talk to Russell for a period of time, was with the radio transition. We now are working on a lot of our own radios and programming the radios. Maybe that's an area that we can help with, because we used to have, I provided an employee before, and now I lost that employee, Monica. She was my trained representative. Maybe, you know, in my mind, I visualize them also happen to be knowledgeable in the radio field, Motorola radio system, in order to service our radio needs, which is, we're one of the biggest radio users right now. We have, you know, as an example, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 35, 45 handhelds and 25 mobile radios. You know, maybe, and that's another area that we have to pay vendors. The county has to pay a vendor to work on our radios. And we all use different vendors. We all don't use the same vendors. You know, there's times when I use TFMcom. There's time when I use KCOM, Kaminko, those LE Upfitters. See what I'm saying? There's like 5 vendors I use, depending on what my needs are and who can get to me the quickest, because that stuff's got to be fixed. We also have emergency management that has a lot of radios. Fire district. I mean, the list goes on of radio. Well, you guys know, you signed the check for the replacement. And so you can see we're, as a county, we're very heavily radio dependent. I would like to see this position maybe able to help with that. Maybe that would be a cost savings to the county. You know, I'm just running scenarios by. Do I have the answers for you? Not on everything, because I think it's in the early or infancy stages of the ideas. If the county wants to work together, I think we can work together. But I think Wade needs to come in on this IT deal as far as our relationship. Him and I have been talking on how we can improve the way we deliver the product, because he relies heavily on the product now for court system. And it's gonna only get tougher. I really do.
But it sounds like to me, so your need now is you've got two positions that you have one person responsible for, which
Right,
both of those positions are
they're needed.
well, they're critical, but they require a lot of time.
They do.
So it's hard to do both.
We gotta, I told you I was gonna try to move forward and
Right.
figure out a
And-
solution.
So obviously finding and hiring a well-qualified person for a position takes time.
It does. So I think right now communications is the critical area with the
With the
transition.
transitions and everything. So what would, an Advantage has contracts with other law enforcement agencies, I think you had said last time, and
They do.
they've got good rapport with them. You've talked to some of their clients.
Yes, sir.
So they're more than capable of handling what you need.
They are. And they're handling our needs right now.
Would it make sense to try and enter into a contract with them for the remainder of the calendar year to see if it works?
Right.
For you?
And right now I am in a contract with them.
Yeah, I remember last week or the week before.
Yeah, it expired. As far as the contract, it expired on 4/29, but it didn't. For the fact I still have money in the fund.
Mhm.
I still have around $3,800 out of 5,000. So yes, we are increasing our dependency on them just right now because with everything going on. And so it may make sense to, and I think it does. I think to continue to pay them, Cody, for services, if they'll continue to do this contract as is and provide those services, and let's see how it works. In the meantime, if the commission would like me and Brad to work together and maybe see what the absolute needs are for not just the sheriff's office, but the county and outside agencies, EMS, fire, that sort of thing, and let's see where a position may be the answer or may not be the answer. I mean, we may just be better off paying vendors. I just hate being vendor dependent.
Right.
You know, you mentioned the security is probably the most important thing of this whole subject we're talking about.
You bet.
Why would Advantage Computer be a better security system for, a better security direction for us to go versus having Brad and Adam take care of it? What's technically the difference in
They're
the
not
security
better.
part of that? To me, there'd be zero difference.
There is zero difference. They're not better. I mean, they have the same clearance or background check that Brad's gone through and Adam in order they can access our system currently. And I have no problem with Brad. I trust Brad. I trust Adam. We got a good hire with Adam.
I've heard nothing but good things about it.
We got a good hire with Adam. And that may be something that if we can figure out a solution, I mean, he may be part of the solution, Brad, maybe, we don't know.
It may be 3 days a week, he's Brad's employee.
There you
3 days
go.
a week he's yours, but we don't know where we're at.
We don't know, but I think we gotta look at it.
We've got
Brad,
about
you got comments?
6 or 7 months left in this year.
Right.
We're gonna have a new sheriff. You know that.
Absolutely.
So kind of go along with Cody, whatever we do, let's just do it to the end of this year. Let's let the new sheriff kind of come out and see what they think.
Well,
But these things can't stand still,
No, they
Bob.
can't stand still. I'm not saying stand still, but
I'm not willing to let the sheriff's office get to that
I'm
point.
saying what we
because-
do, let's try to work something out till the end of this year. And then if the new ones want to maybe take a different avenue, I don't want to pin them down to an avenue.
Oh, I don't think you do pin them down, but I think
well, and even then,
I understand what you're saying, because anything I do now, the new sheriff will inherit. But regardless, both candidates,
The process has to go on.
the process has to go on,
I understand that.
and both are capable and understand and have worked here, obviously, and do work here. And so they know that, I don't think this would impact a new sheriff. I think this would only help keep things off a new sheriff's plate.
Right.
Because the more things that run smoothly, I know when I took office, it was great that the new things ran smoothly, and I didn't have to mess with them.
Okay, well, let's clarify this. So you're talking about putting Tasha back to dispatch, doing away with the position of IT, which you
The temporary,
moved her up to, so
right,
we're gonna
I'm
keep
hoping,
doing away with that
I'm
position.
hoping to, yeah, depending on our discussions here today, will impact my direction I go. You know, the sooner the better.
Okay, well, I'm looking here of maybe clearing some money. So if she moves back to dispatch, you know, you just went in for $1,750 a month doing both jobs. Are you gonna do away with the $1,750 if you move her back to just dispatch?
Once we come up with a solution, yes.
So that will clear up a little bit.
That would clear up a little bit.
That could,
Yes, it would be significantly changed. Depending on the structure, are we gonna move admin personnel over and keep them under one supervisor? Because currently they're under an admin IT supervisor. So yes, that 1,700 that's been there will go away.
so we got a lot of things to look at here.
We do. We have a lot to look at, and that's the reason, that was the reason I didn't want it. I'm trying to work with you instead of just doing stuff.
Right.
And surprise, this is what I did.
I appreciate it.
You know, and so, but I do value the importance, and I can't stress enough the importance of technology in law enforcement. And there's so much behind the scenes working that it takes to keep these systems up and running. It's just it is a lot of work. And video is the big thing that's gonna really pick up. It's just not gonna go away.
So would the advantage wouldn't be the 28,000 base, would continue this year, right?
No, that contract would be a 1-year contract.
It would be a 1-year contract.
Yeah. That's the minimum they normally do, is a 1-year contract is what they sent me. So now we can continue, a possibility while we study this or work together on it to see the solution. It's my understanding they'll continue to work under this pool of money with the contract we have now, that it's on an as-needed basis.
Right.
I've got money budgeted to help cover that for this year, because this was a contract I entered. So we've got time, Bob. We do have time.
Yeah, maybe
But I think that $5,000, the more I put dependency on them, that's gonna shrink at $125 an hour.
Right, and that's where we get into, during business hours, if we have people here that can handle it, we try that first.
Absolutely.
Does that work, Brad?
And let me say this, Tasha's not gonna, in my mind, Tasha's not gonna just quit doing
Right.
what she's been doing, because when she was communications director, she's doing the minor IT stuff. She was doing a lot of what she could, like on the car cameras and things like that. She's not gonna quit doing that. She's a team player. If needs stuff worked on, if she can handle it, she'll do it. That's how she rolls.
Right.
And so,
If she's busy,
but when she's busy,
we have people here during the hours. That way
absolutely.
we don't put all our eggs in one basket with the.
We should never put I agree.
But our after hours, we have a
That's-
contract, they're there. If it's needed, we get it done.
if we can handle it during the day.
I don't disagree.
We can do it after hours.
Yeah,
We've got this.
that's the reason I think the county would benefit
So
from us
under
working
the
together.
administrative part of that IT job description, then, with those duties, all your IT administrative position,
Mhm.
so then the admin part of that, where will those duties fall?
I think for now, until we come up with a solution under Tasha, I think the fact that the admin side supervision they're easy to manage based on their job. They're not like dispatch where it's 24/7.
Right.
Admin is manageable because there's a lot of experience there. So, and stuff. So I think that's manageable for now, and probably in my mind, regardless of what we do, that would probably be I think a good permanent solution is to put that admin, because you're basically talking 4 people, and put them under the dispatch communication supervisor. I just think because they're Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 type employees, they're very manageable with very little oversight. It's just of my pay grade thing, you know, if it needs like signatures, equipment, that sort of thing. A supervisor needs to be the one to sign off on that stuff. And so the new sheriff could change it too. I'm not saying he couldn't. The new sheriff could move admin under the undersheriff or whatever. There's lots of different solutions. This is just the solution I'm trying to come up with for now. So I'd like to see us proceed in working together. We have a very, very capable, competent IT department. We just do. And while we don't always see eye to eye on things, but because we're looking at things from 2 different perspectives, I think as long as we and the commission wants us to work together, and that's the direction you want us to go.
I don't think anybody in the room sees eye to eye on everything.
We don't, do we?
So
But we work through that as professionals, and I think that's what we should do for the best. I think it'll save money. I really do. I think by working together and my needs and the county's needs, and us working together could save money. Like you said, we do that with Carl Lee, or used to do that with Carl Lee. 2 departments shared them, that sort of thing. So,
Brad, do you have any comments?
yes. Yeah.
I'd like to stand up there, Randy.
Come on over.
And 2 podiums.
Yeah. So,
Okay, couple things. The video system in the jail, that's what we purchased here a while back. It is a closed system. Only people that have access to it is the sheriff's office. I don't have access to it unless I walk down here and log into their server to do it. So, and it records in it, and that's where Wade's wanting it to use something a little more, convert it to something everybody could use.
yes.
That's exactly what we had to do with the commission meetings.
Yep.
Free software, takes a few minutes, or takes a minute to install it, get it running, it works fine. All you have to do is convert it. The radio programming, you spent $2 to $4 million on radios. I believe Bob and I were sitting in a couple of those meetings. They decided there was a bid for $80,000 for Motorola to come and program those. And everybody sitting, or people sitting in that meeting decided, no, we could program them ourselves. Courtney volunteered to program them. If we have a private business, Courtney saved us, $80,000. He'd be doing bonus if he was a private business.
We had 3 employees trained by Motorola, was it?
Yes.
Okay, Courtney and
And Randall.
And Randall's doing all the programming for the
Randall's
fire
doing-
department's radios.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a,
Courtney's doing the rest of them,
Team effort.
So that was the plan. Was we'll program our own radios. I obviously, it was approved by KBI to work on anything here. So I don't see a security issue there. And just a little perspective of what I do. The county has approximately 150 computers. We have 20 servers. 3 of them are the sheriff's office, maybe 4. We do the backup system, so we back up all of these servers so we don't lose any data. I manage the firewalls, so we try to prevent intrusions. I run the antivirus system. Again, for safety and security. I do the I'm with the Coffee Can network. So I work with other entities to make sure the hospital, the schools, and all the libraries have internet access. I help manage the camera system. We do the door locks. All these things, that's what I did. There's 150 computers, 3 of them in the sheriff's office. That's all they have. They don't take care of their own servers. They do the software on those. So, yeah, I also do all the software on everybody else's system. Sheriff has to keep track of 31 servers and the software needed for that. And at the time, Randy insisted that we were not capable of doing that. And he needed to hire his own IT staff. As you know, Bill Bauer had just passed away. He basically badmouthed the county IT to give his wife a job.
Okay, that's enough. That's crossing the line right there.
I am talking, Randy.
Yeah, but you're crossing the line.
Let's just keep it factual. I mean, there were events that took place that were factual.
That's crossing.
And everyone has their own opinion, but that's what happened.
My wife already had a job. I didn't hire her. Let's clear this up for people watching.
Made, yes?
Yes. It was an IT
And who was put in
position.
that position?
She was.
Okay, that's
She was.
it. That's the end of it.
So she's
For
an
both of
employee,
them.
not my wife. I don't like the insinuations.
Okay.
It's not a good, it's a
Had a new
negative
employee-
insinuation.
Had a new employee paid
That's right.
$63,000 to take care of 30 computers. And the software for that, and the camera system for the cars, things like that. It is a difficult job. IT is a difficult job. Yeah. I was here 24 hours one day working on the phone system. Got here at 8 o'clock in the morning, phone system went bad. I was here till the next day, working on it to get the phone system back up. That's why we get the big bucks. Yeah. If I'm here 4 hours working on something, yeah, that's my job. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I would say 30 computers, so 120 in the servers, I must be vastly underpaid. That's my opinion.
So is this gonna continue to be a problem moving forward?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't trust him.
What?
I do not trust Randy.
Excuse me, sir.
Randy?
I think you ought to quantify, I think he needs to quantify that.
He has his own opinion, Randy.
Well, that's fine. That's too bad. That's really sad that anyway.
I don't respect him. I've seen him up here lie about,
So let's keep it factual.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
This is
Yeah,
a
this
problem
We
moving
don't need to go
forward.
It's too bad that it's personal with him.
All right, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize to me.
Okay.
So going forward then.
Going forward.
Well, then I kind of see where I need to go.
So as needed during regular business hours, moving forward.
I believe that's what we're paying for.
But
Yes, I
But she
do not have a problem.
that
I do not have a problem.
that
I do not have a
position
problem
won't be
with
there.
that.
I'll take
I
care
do
of
not
it.
have a problem with
If
that.
we direct you to do this, we'll do it.
I will do it.
Or we'll have someone do it, yes.
Now I see why we get nasty emails
Yeah, well,
on a regular basis from Brad, so.
Okay.
It's unfortunate because I'm trying to extend an olive branch with the
We're trying
county
to move forward
commission.
here.
okay, guys.
Okay.
I agree.
And right now.
Take all
we have
personal
two people
feelings
that-
out.
Well, I'm just totally shocked. I'm sitting here in shock.
Can you please be quiet? If, but you're not helping the situation.
Okay, let's
Okay.
move on.
Let's,
I'm moving on.
so going forward, what we discussed earlier for the last half hour, can we put our pride aside? Because we have a job to do.
We do.
We all have a job to do for the county,
We do.
for the people of the county.
We do.
Can we do it?
That's why I'm here.
But comments like that and your body language and your gesture right now are all things you can control and you're not.
Put yourself in my position.
I know, I think I kind of am right now.
I know. I get it.
So moving forward, maybe it's not the best fit to have Brad go down there and help with things. But if Brad can spare Adam, if needed, for the time being, and we have a contract with Advantage for the after hours or the other stuff, if Brad and Adam are tied up with something else and can't get down there, then we need to do what we need to do to,
Absolutely.
to make things work.
Yes, sir.
But
Do
it's,
we bill the sheriff's office for Adam's time?
I think we would, just like any other, no different than county shop billing other departments for fuel and vehicles. I mean, or if the road and bridge comes up here and works on the sidewalk, they bill whatever department.
Can I speak up on that? Just because with the sheriff's office being under the general fund and technology being under the general fund,
It's all one fund.
It
it's
comes out
one
anyway.
fund, so it's, road and bridge is different.
Right, road and bridge is separate.
Health is different because it's a separate fund. They're levied, so I'm not sure, because like I don't get billed if I use Brad.
Right, okay,
So I just wanted to be
No.
making the right decision. on
Makes
that.
that's fine, thank you.
Answer that question.
Taxpayers pay for all of it anyway, so.
That's all.
Okay, let's clarify this so everybody's on the same page. During regular hours, someone from our technology will try their best to work with them to assist them in any way. After hours, we use Advantage or anything that doesn't. And we will, that's still, we will try to work with that till the end of the year or till something else gets figured out. So,
And am I to,
okay, Randy, you hear that?
am I to instruct Tasha on how to fix something, or
If she
is she the,
He's
still the IT
taking
director?
her out of that department. He's taking, Tasha's coming out of that department. That's what you just said, right?
Can I say something here?
Go ahead.
Okay. I won't bother Brad. Brad rarely offers to help me, even if I call Brad. I'll usually get some type of snarky remark, and that's about the end of that. So I have others that I can go to and will continue to go to. And if I have to do both jobs, I can do both jobs.
So with that moving forward, I think I see where we're at currently. I think whatever the differences are personally, I'm a professional and I'm gonna move on professionally and make professional decisions. I think we should. I think for the best for the county would be great if we could work together and find a solution. It's just, if we want to talk any more concerning any issues, and I think it's irrelevant at this point. I'm not gonna air dirty laundry in public. I think it serves no benefit. And but I will say I will defend myself and I will defend Tasha as an employee, you know, over 30 years. That's why she was communications director. She's your 911 director that you guys appoint and don't pay her a dime. So, you know, it's unfortunate. It's a whole lot of issues, but I think it's because it is what it is. And I'm just not gonna go down that road. So I will move forward, sir. I appreciate the help with whatever you guys as his boss and IT's boss are willing to authorize him to do, but I'm not gonna do the negativity thing.
Sure.
We're just not gonna do negativity. Negativity serves no purpose. And I get a lot of it out of different individuals, and that's fine, we move on.
Sure.
And that's what I'm gonna do. Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
We'll try to make it work.
Well, that's up to you guys. You're the Board of County Commissioners and you're the boss. And so I have commitments to my county attorney and I have commitments to my officers, and their equipment will be up and operating 24 hours a day and by the state security measures and what I deem appropriate security. And that may very well cost the county money now. But it may, I don't know, but I'm gonna do what I need to do for the safety and security of the sheriff's office. And I hope that you guys will allow him to work with us. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. That's just. Okay.
Round table.
Thank you, Steve. I'm not on the agenda, but I talked to Don. Well, my office had talked to Don last week, and I felt like maybe I need to come and just refresh everyone's memory real quick. And being that we only talked to him, I thought maybe y'all would. So what I presented to you today is a bill from Topeka Ear, Nose, and Throat. And like I said, Don was up last week and asked, some questions about it for clarification. So I wanted to give you a little history first before I go into this bill, just so you guys understand. In about 2012, I think it was, we changed insurance companies from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Benefits Management. At that time, the county became self-funded. And so the plan was put together with the approval of the commission and our insurance committee, which has ended up saving taxpayers from receiving 26% increases under Blue Cross Blue Shield to 29% increases, down to 0% for the last 2 years, and to this year being a 2% increase. So I just want to give you that background just so you can understand. So once we meet a certain threshold over 125,000, then our reinsurance company kicks in and covers after that. So regarding this bill I presented to you, I wanted to let you know that the total of the bill was $2,288. The doctor that comes here to Coffee County met with the particular patient, and then they went to Topeka for a procedure. He had to do it at his office. Yes, as you read, it says that the hospital in Coffee County failed to get a prior authorization. So there was a mix-up because the doctor's here, but he also doctors in Topeka. Anyway, under our claims, which we would have paid through ACH, which is an automatic withdrawal from your bank account, we would have paid the full $2,288. Apparently, the insured individuals had visited with Topeka Ear, Nose, and Throat because they received this bill and were confused as to what happened. So we did some research and found out. In the end, the doctor's office in Topeka cut the bill in half to $1,144. And so this is an actual claim that we would have had to have paid through ACH. And the doctor recognized the error that occurred, being that he does business with Coffee County and all that. So we, Denise and I, in the clerk's office, we talked to our county auditor, we talked to our plan administrator, and we talked to CIC, our financial software, and to make sure that we could handle the transaction properly. And they said that really the only thing we could do, we were responsible for that bill, regardless whether it was at the full $2,288 or the half. And they said the only thing you can do in this case is to pay half of the bill. And they told us to pay it from the line it would have originally come from anyway. So I didn't put myself on the agenda, but I thought with Don questioning that maybe you guys all needed a refresher too as to what occurred with this particular bill. I know we talked to you about it before. Maybe we didn't go into as much in depth and history and background, but I just wanted you guys to understand. So if you'd like, I can put myself on the agenda next week if there's any questions or anything like that to go over the bill at that time. So.
Well, I appreciate it, Angie. I had a question from a citizen.
Okay.
So I just wanted a little more clarification because
Sure.
I couldn't remember the exact details.
Yeah.
And this puts it out where everybody knows. And it's actually less cost to us for what happened.
Yeah, we actually,
Versus what if it went the other way.
unfortunate mistake, we got a deal on that.
And I might just say, since we had changed insurances and went self-insured from July the 1st of 17 to 5/31 of 20, we've actually paid Coffee County Hospital $851,045.40, which, because we had made an agreement with them that where we would start using them for a set fee. So they have, I don't know how much of that they would have gotten otherwise. And we've also, because of our two medicine shops here in town, in the county, we've also paid them $577,692.07 over that period of time. So by changing the insurance the way we did, and I will say I was not on the committee at the time when that was made, we've actually saved the taxpayers a lot of money and put money back into this community by changing the insurance and changing the way we did things, so by going self-insured. So. It was a touchy situation when we decided to go self-insured. We were a little hesitant about it. Finally thought, we talked to a lot of other counties who some of were, so when we went into it, it was a not knowing for sure.
I remember even Kenneth was nervous. We would sit and talk about this and go, it's scary, isn't it? But it has worked.
Well, just the savings we've received. I mean, we were far below.
It's ended up being a huge savings. And one of the keys to it is the first 3 or 4 years getting kicked off at a very low level. And that kind of put everything into perspective and everything else. The savings is great.
So would you like me to be on the agenda for next week in case there's any other questions on this particular issue, or are you satisfied with the
I don't know why
explanation?
if there's any correspondence or any questions for the public, we can discuss it around the table next week. I don't think it's gonna require an agenda.
I'm not sure why they did that question, but.
Okay, thank you.
I think Fred was on the notice about what's
I do have one thing. Our insurance did, the deductible did go up on the HSA accounts, but that's not our choice, that's IRS. So usually, when it was 2,700, the county put 1,700 into everybody's HSA, and you guys had agreed to do that. But the deductible went up to 2,800 this year. Do you want to put the 18 to make it 1,000 like we always have in the past? Or what do you want to do?
The reason we did that before was because of the $1,000 deductible. They had $1,000 deductible, so in order to keep people on the HSA, we would keep it up to what the IRS guidelines were. That's your decision. So.
Total number enrolled in that program or total cost of $100 increase.
Last year, it was right at 212,000, I believe.
Yeah.
220. But I think we've had a few people move off of that plan, so it might, I'm thinking it'd be right around the same.
You want to put the numbers together and bring it next week?
Sure.
That works.
I can do what we have to.
Or
Yeah.
before it's due.
We will have to make a decision next week though, because that money needs to go in their account at the end of the month on payroll.
Kind of skipped way there, but.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
What do you think, Brian? Take it away? Not for today, not for today.
The only thing I would have that is we got the contract for GGA, and with adding the courthouse and stuff, Wade and I had worked together and we looked at the contract, and then we talked with Larry Goldberg, and we wanted some changes made in there. It was the way it was structured to break it out for you guys. So option 1 would be just like the jail study original, and then option 2 would be jail and judicial, and then option 3 would be jail, judicial, and courthouse. And so we talked to Larry Thursday, I think. I don't remember what day it was. And Larry just got us the contract back and we have not had a chance to review that yet. I think we're gonna try to get it done. I won't be here next Monday. I'll be gone. And, but we may be in a position to where Wade and Mike can present it.
Okay.
And have a contract ready for you. So we can, they're anxious to get started and I'm sure we are too.
I guess I'll just follow up on that. We talked on the phone, Randy was talking to me about something else on Friday, and I guess Larry happened to call. There were parts of the proposal that I was gonna meet with the board about that I had an issue with, and I expressed my concerns. After going back and forth, that particular provision was removed. Well, I was told it was gonna be removed, and I was just handed the revised contract or proposal this morning, so I asked Larry to include options for each particular area, the sheriff and jail, the courthouse, and judicial complex, and what the breakdown would be, and then I think once it's presented, at least from what I've reviewed just at a very basic level, it'll give the board some options to do option 1, 2, or 3, option 1 and 2, option 2 and 3, whatever the board wants. A breakdown for that specific cost, which I think is helpful not only for the board, but for the public as well. So
I'm just hoping there's more options than just the jail.
Well, I think the important part was Wade and Larry having that conversation and Larry listening to what our needs were. And I think that's a good sign why we picked Goldberg is they listened to what Wade said. And this morning when I checked my email, he had this new, and we just had
Wade a chance to go over.
Yeah, so we're moving forward.
We are moving forward. Anything for us?
I
Anything
didn't
else?
have anything else.
Anything for round table?
Yeah, just a thought or two. I know we've all got our own opinions about the loan that was given to the hospital and how it should be handled. The only thing I wanted to bring up, just to make sure everybody thought about it, was that the loan was made with taxpayer money. And if the loan is ever repaid, it will with taxes to a greater extent than what their payment would be. They're going to pay us back taxpayer money. And the end result will be cutting their budget by that much. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right, I'm just saying I want everybody to think about that. And I'll be glad to go in more detail if anybody wants to.
Next week, I'm drawing a blank now.
Leonard.
CEO of hospital.
Leonard.
Leonard, yes. And Dr. Shell
Yes,
will be here for a discussion.
I think a couple board members
And a
might
couple
be
board
coming
members,
as well.
maybe.
That's all I have. I just wanted everybody to think about that a little bit.
Thanks, Fred. Tom?
I guess given what we just recently had to witness here, I'm not sure that we shouldn't just let Randy hire Advantage Computers for temporary. I mean, we're only talking, he said 28,000 for the year, so half that roughly, just head down that path for now. Just my suggestion.
I don't know if that's the case because it's, you said be a year contract, so.
You know, there's only 6 months left in that year.
I'm gonna call them,
Yeah.
Is that correct? The
Yeah.
28,000 is for a complete 12 months?
Yeah, it's a 12-month contract that you sign and it's good for 12 months. But I'm
You do
gonna,
it 6 months.
I'm gonna call them and see if they'll do, given our budget cycle, new sheriff and all that.
Save some, yeah.
I'm,
Never hurts to ask.
It wouldn't hurt to talk to Ned and Doug or whoever's calling shots for Advantage Computers.
yeah. I've been talking to their boss, so I'll talk to them.
So I had,
Well,
I understand that, but we're all working for the same place. If we can all work together and save saves the taxpayers money, and what we need to do, so. And I think we kind of agreed what we were kind of shooting for, so I'm done.
Don?
I have nothing else to add.
What I had was basically that Winter and Rochelle will be here next week. Everything for roundtable, Donna?
I'm working on the budget books. I still have several that haven't turned theirs in, but, hopefully they'll get those in soon, because you're having a budget work session next Monday. And Fred, you have planning board meeting Wednesday and at the 4-H building. It looks like that's it.
Call the meeting at 11:51.
Donna, please, here.
Yeah, you can leave your budget requests on your workstation there, and I'll pick them up when they go.
See, the